goal: to inspire viewers with the story of Stanley Druckenmiler's quiet brilliance, intellectual honesty, and courageous conviction, showing how a combination of top-down macroeconomic analysis and a willingness to go for the jugular can build a legendary financial track record. Imagine an investor who, over 3 decades, delivered an astonishing 30% average annual return and never had a single losing year. This is the story of Stanley Druckenmiler, the legendary fund manager who was the mastermind behind one of the most famous trades in history, and who proves that true genius lies in intellectual humility and the courage to make a big bet. His life is a masterclass in macroeconomic analysis, risk management, and the art of taking a concentrated, high-conviction bet. We'll explore his early career as an oil analyst, his pivotal partnership with George Soros, the monumental trade that earned him global fame, and the powerful principles that propelled him to become a billionaire and a giant in the financial world. If you've ever wanted to learn how to think like a world-class investor, this video is for you. Stanley Druckenmiler's story began in a middle-class family in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. His journey into finance was not a direct path. He attended Bowdoin College, where he majored in English and economics, and even started a hot dog stand to make some money on the side. He went on to pursue a Ph.D. in economics at the University of Michigan, but dropped out after just a few semesters to accept a job as an oil analyst for Pittsburgh National Bank in 1977. This was a critical decision. While academia offered theoretical knowledge, the banking job gave him a front-row seat to the real-world application of economics. He quickly proved his talent, rising to head the bank's equity research group in just 1 year. But his ambition was bigger than a bank job. In 1981, with no outside investors, he founded his own firm, Duquesne Capital Management. The early days were a relentless grind, and he was fueled by his innate curiosity and a desire to prove he could make it on his own. The real turning point came in 1988, when he was hired by George Soros to manage the Quantum Fund. This was a partnership of 2 financial titans, and it was in this role that Druckenmiler's genius for macroeconomic analysis truly blossomed. Soros's philosophical approach to market reflexivity and Druckenmiler's disciplined, top-down analysis of global economic trends were a perfect match. Their most famous collaboration came on September 16, 1992, a day that would become known as Black Wednesday. The British pound was pegged to the German Deutschmark, but Druckenmiler, after months of meticulous analysis, was convinced that the pound was fundamentally overvalued and that the Bank of England could not sustain its position. He went to Soros with his conviction, and together they placed a massive short position on the pound, betting over $1 billion against it. The Bank of England capitulated, the pound was devalued, and Soros and Druckenmiler's fund made a staggering profit. While Soros was famously dubbed the man who broke the Bank of England, insiders knew the genius behind the trade was Druckenmiler. Despite his incredible track record, Druckenmiler faced his share of humbling failures. His biggest loss came in 2000, during the dot-com bubble. He had been shorting tech stocks, believing they were overvalued. But the market's irrational exuberance continued to push prices higher. He covered his short position and, in a moment of panic, went long on tech stocks. The market promptly crashed, and his fund suffered a significant loss. This experience taught him a powerful lesson about risk management and intellectual honesty. He famously said, "You need a certain amount of intelligence, but it's wasted over a certain level. After that, it's more intuition. You have to be willing to admit you're wrong. The failure of 2000 was a wake-up call that led him to close his hedge fund in 2010, citing the emotional toll of managing such a large amount of capital and the challenge of consistently delivering top returns. Through his combination of brilliant analysis and an unyielding commitment to his principles, Stanley Druckenmiller built one of the most successful financial careers in history. His success was built on several core principles. Concentration over diversification, he famously said. The way to build superior long-term returns is through preservation of capital and home runs. He believed in putting all your eggs in one basket and watching the basket very carefully. Macroeconomic analysis. He was a top-down investor. He didn't just look at a company's fundamentals. He analyzed global economic trends, interest rates, currency movements, and central bank policies to identify his big bets. Intellectual humility. He was always willing to admit when he was wrong and cut his losses quickly. This emotional discipline prevented him from suffering catastrophic losses. Go for the jugular. A lesson he learned from Soros. When he had tremendous conviction on a trade, he would go for the jugular, taking a massive, concentrated position. He believed this was the only way to achieve truly superior returns. Stanley Druckenmiller's journey culminated in his rise to billionaire status and his position as one of the most respected voices in finance. Since closing his fund, he has focused on managing his personal fortune and a sprawling philanthropic foundation, the Druckenmiller Foundation. He has given billions to causes, including medical research, education, and poverty, most notably as chairman of the Harlem Children's Zone. His legacy is not just in his track record of returns, but in the powerful lessons he has shared on risk management, mental flexibility, and the courage to be a contrarian. He proved that to win big in finance, you must be a combination of a brilliant macro analyst and a fearless, disciplined investor. Beyond his incredible career, Stanley Druckenmiller's life offers crucial financial lessons for anyone aspiring to build wealth. He understood that true wealth is built by having a clear framework, intense conviction, and the discipline to manage risk. Here are 3 top financial principles you can learn from Stanley Druckenmiller's incredible journey. Never, ever invest in the present. Druckenmiller's mantra was to visualize the situation 18 months in the future. In your own life, don't invest based on where a stock is today, but where you believe it will be in the future. Take your losses quickly. He was famous for his willingness to admit he was wrong and cut a losing position. This is the single most important rule of risk management. Be a pig when you rewrite. He believed that the only way to make truly superior returns is to be aggressive with your winners. When you have a high conviction idea, bet big and let it ride. So, what does the remarkable story of Stanley Druckenmiller truly teach us? It's that with a disciplined mind, intellectual honesty, and the courage to make a big bet, you can achieve extraordinary success. Your past doesn't define your potential. Your willingness to learn from your mistakes and your ability to see the future does. If Stanley Druckenmiller can build a legendary career on a few high-conviction trades, what big bet are you willing to make on yourself? Chase your dreams, learn from every failure, and never, ever stop thinking for yourself. Tell us in the comments what inspired you most about Stanley Druckenmiller's journey. If you liked this video, please like, share, And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories and practical advice. Until next time, stay disciplined, stay courageous, and keep building your own future.